You know, we're going to get, pound for pound, there will be plenty of blog coverage for Vermont. Although I told him that the data port there, it's got my name on it, so he's got to negotiate with me.
So you're making it sound almost as though bloggers are not guys in their parents' basement in their bathrobes. There's a sort of, that stereotype is really not...
Well, I mean, plenty are. And it's still, you know, although you see a lot more women blogging in the political blogs now, and certainly some very prominent at the national level, it's still, you know, male dominated. It still tends to be, you know, white dominated. It's you know, it's happening, and I think that's a function of the term you don't hear anymore, the digital divide, which is closing, and as that is closing, and as more people are getting access to that kind of technology, it's part and parcel with expanding the diversity of the blogosphere. But they're still, sure, you know, I probably meet most people's definition of a stereotype. My brain is way too filled up with Star Trek quotes. I shudder to think what other important information has been pushed out to keep room for that.
Give us your best Monty Python, right? How long's GMD been out there doing what it's doing, and I guess how'd you found it or decide that it was time to?
It was about 2.5 years ago, and you know, I was looking at the blogosphere such as it was, and I was really looking at these community models like Daily Kos, and it was clear to me that the effect that was having on the national political debate, not just the blogs in general, but that specific type that allowed for that community organizing, that netroots experience, which really sort of, you know, bridges the gap between the sort of grassroots organizational, you know, field style work and just sort of people talking to each other out in nowhere land. And basically there wasn't anybody else doing it, and I bounced it around a little bit, and I thought, you know, I've just got to take the plunge. Somebody's got to do it. I'll get some people to help me, and then maybe after a year or something, I can step back and let it take care of itself. And here it is, you know, 2.5 years, and I'm still, you know, sort of got my finger on the button on it. But who knows? Maybe one of these days I'll find a new hobby.
But at that point, you called a few friends, and I guess there's sort of an architecture to the page where there will be front pagers, their stories, and then on the side anyone can post, if they register, anyone can post sort of on the sidebar, and there'll be recent diaries and recommended diaries. So you called up some folks to pitch them the idea and see if they'd be willing to write and keep your front page fresh. And
I called up a few people. My first person I contacted was Jack McCullough, also from Montpelier, who's been a front pager ever since we started. Who else did I contact? I contacted David Waldman, who blogs as CagroX and is a front pager on Daily Kos. And he was interested, couldn't quite do it at that time. He was overextended at the time. He was doing some campaign work. And that's when I just sort of stumbled on Eddie Garcia, Kestrel 9000, who's a former radio personality in the Bennington area. And then another person I talked to had sort of stepped up, signed up to do it, but stepped back. She couldn't really devote the time to it. So it really just started off as a very few people. And gradually, as people showed up, and I could see that, okay, this person really likes this. They're committed to it. They keep coming back. They're not just commenting or rating other people's comments. They're putting their own diaries out there. Then I talk to your boss. Okay, can we grab this person? We need more bodies, and pull them in. And we've gone through quite a few people now. There's, you know, we've got 7 or 8 front pagers now, and another, you know, 5 or 6 people who have been front pagers at one time or another.
Excellent. Maybe now's a good time to get into some of the terminology or the vocabulary of the blogs. You were talking about commenting and recommending, and let's just run through a list. We'll have a little vocab quiz and see how you do on it, okay? First up is troll.
A troll is someone who comes onto a website like this, not really intending to interact as part of the community, but to disrupt. someone who's there specifically to derail conversation or to screw it up for everybody else. And sometimes they're obvious. They come blazing in there calling people names. Sometimes they can be a little more subtle, what we call a concern troll, where you have someone who's clearly, let's say in a blog like this, someone who's clearly from the right wing coming in and saying, you're just, if you want to be successful, you're just going about it all the wrong way. All this stuff you're saying, this is terrible. You'll never win doing that. And it's someone who has absolutely no interest in you being successful, and they're giving advice.
Right.
And that gets in and disrupts things also.
So what happens to trolls? How do blogs maintain their sort of community without, I guess, destroying free speech? That's often said with troll on their way out. They will get rated out of existence. What do these words mean?
Well,
how does this work, community?
Some of that's a little bit goofy. A blog is something that one person or a few people have set up for a specific purpose. It's not a free speech zone. The free speech zone, ideally, is the internet. And the whole shebang, and this is our little backyard.
Park here though,
right?
GMD for the day.
Yeah, and so different websites have different rules. There are some things that you can't put up there. Most of them will say you can't just show up and abuse people. A site like Green Mountain Daily has a rating system, so that people who are registered users can go and essentially rate what the quality. Generally, it means what do I really like this thing this person said. In our system, you have an opportunity to say, well, this is well spoken, but I don't agree, or maybe this is unproductive.
So 1 to 4.
Yeah, although we leave out 2. That's
exactly.
a long story. It's always in motion. But if there's someone in there who is a troll, then participants in the community will go and give that comment a 0 rating. We'll rate it as a troll. And what happens is if a comment accumulates enough of those ratings, it disappears from public view. And if someone is continually just showing up just to disrupt, then yeah, we can revoke their right to post on the site. And that's happened probably 3 times.
Do they get enough troll ratings and they just disappear, or you have to make an editorial decision that this guy's a troublemaker, he's not just a thoughtful conservative who's interested in debate, but it's actually here to call us terrorist sympathizers or something?
It's my own naivete with the system. The algorithm at Daily Kos, you get enough, then you get what they say, an auto ban.
Right.
At the soapbox system we use, it doesn't. And I'm wondering for a long time, God, when is this person, someone who continually goes, when is it? I'm going to have to step in. And I ended up stepping in and find out later that, it never kicks in. I always have to do it. But generally, we really don't want to go there, and there are certainly regular contributors on the site who really, really don't like me, or some of the other front page posters, or all of the front page posters, and they sometimes get negative ratings. But the fact is that they're contributors to the community. So if you're contributing to the community, you might occasionally be able to act trollish, but by definition, you're not a troll, so you're not going to get kicked out.
All right, you're batting 1,000 right now in your vocab quiz. What is a lurker?
Someone who just reads and doesn't actually post anything. That one's an easy one.
Okay. Can you tell how many people are lurking on a site, or do you get a count like that, or you really can only work from registered users and
I have a pretty good
commenters?
idea. We can track traffic on the site, and there's Green Mountain Daily averages about, these days, bounce down a little bit, between 500 and 600 unique visitors a day. So, it's not huge, but it's pretty solid by Vermont standards.
Small state, and there's probably a lot of people that are sort of political junkies and inside the legislature and
the legislature,
regulatory agencies.
We get tons of hits from the state. All the press folks read it. And there's I'm always running into people who read it, so it's not the same 600 people every day.
Right.
I think there's a core people who probably come every day, and I could hazard a guess at what that would be, but it'd be really sketchy.
Right.
But there's a very, very few people then who actually comment on certainly on any kind of regular basis. There are a lot of people who will pop in and comment once every 6 months or something. But right now, registered users, we have about 900 registered users.